Let's go right now to Jack Cafferty and the Cafferty File in New York. Hello, Jack.
While the U.S. military is being ground down in the 4.5-year-old civil war in Iraq, Russia and China are playing games, war games, on Russian soil. Not exactly a comforting sight for the people in Eastern Europe, especially. Despite the joint efforts of two of the largest armies in the world, both countries deny that this could one day lead to a force that would counterbalance NATO. The war games are complete with fighter jets and commandos leaping from helicopters and the boom of artillery shells. They were staged by an outfit called the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and include Russia, China, and 4 other Central Asian states. Russian President Vladimir Putin watched the exercises along with Chinese President Hu Jintao. Putin called the war games another step toward strengthening relations between his country and China, toward international peace and security, and toward the security of their people. There's more to this. Putin also announced that he's ordered the Russian military to resume regular long-range flights of strategic bombers. Our State Department says it's not troubled by any of this, the war games, the strategic bomber flights. It's all okay. Of course, this all comes at a time of growing tension between the United States and Russia, with Washington criticizing Russia's record on democracy and Moscow whining about America's missile defense plans for Eastern Europe. So here is the question. How concerned should the United States be about joint Russian-Chinese war games? Email your thoughts to CAFFERTYFILE, CNN.com, or go to CNN.com/CAFFERTYFILE. Miles?
Jack Cafferty, thank you very much, sir. Hurricane D. Jack Cafferty in New York with the Cafferty File. Hello, Jack.
The question, Miles, this hour is how concerned should the U.S. be about the current joint Russian-Chinese war games going on inside Russia? Jana writes from Tacoma, if it were 2009, I'd be mildly worried till our guys went over, had a conversation with their guys. Until then, I'm going to be scared to death in case the White House decides to go for another legacy that fries us all. Robert in Venice, Florida, very concerned with U.S. military powers stretched to the limits among al-Qaeda, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Russia and China combined would be a grave threat to our country's security and interests throughout the world. It is the worst-case scenario for us, a whole new Cold War with only the threat of mad, mutually assured destruction available to us. Peggy in Missouri, China and Russia joining forces scares me to death. China owns us lock, stock, and barrel, and they're building up their military. And look at what Russia's been up to lately. They still have a large stockpile of nuclear weapons. This is not good. Roy in Texas, under normal circumstances, I'd be very concerned. However, the administration's desire for a war with Iran is what's keeping me up at night currently. I'm a strong supporter of the U.S. Constitution, but I'm wishing the Founding Fathers had envisioned something like the Praetorian Guard to save us from presidential insanity. Richard writes, worry about war games between Russia and China when they're hosted by Mexico. And Phil in Tennessee, we know China can go to war with tires, toothpaste, and toys. How do the Russians hope to keep up with that? Miles?
All right, thank you very much, Jack Cafferty. You are in the Situation Room.